You've probably experienced this. One team hears a suggestion and immediately collaborates, while another hears exactly the same words and shuts down. Why? Today, we're diving into something that shapes every interaction your team has, yet rarely gets serious attention: psychology behind communication. Here's the reality: miscommunication is one of the most expensive, painful, and silent killers of progress, creativity, and innovation, especially in agile environments where speed, iteration, and cross functional collaboration really depend on good communications. Now, as AI starts to mediate more of our communication and digital fatigue becomes more of the norm, we're communicating more, yet understand each other less, including our AI companions. No amount of process, tooling, or AI will save a team that can't actually hear one another. So, today we'll explore why our messages get misinterpreted, how our brains filter meaning, and what you can do starting today so that you can rebuild your teams in a way that they communicate with clarity, trust, and psychological safety. Let's start with why communication psychology matters so much. AI systems are becoming part of our daily workflows, and they amplify our communication patterns. Clear inputs generate helpful outputs. Frustrated, vague ones, what do you do? That's not fun. In essence, our AI mirrors our habits back to us, raising the stakes of good communication. Hybrid work makes it harder. Gone are the nonverbal cues, a nod, a pause, and raised eyebrow, that helped us catch misalignment early when we were face to face. Those quick clarifications by the coffee machine aren't happening anymore. And the cost of miscommunication? Enormous. It drains productivity. Yes. And more critically, it erodes trust. Over time, people start feeling unheard, morale drops, people disengage or leave. How do we deal with this without falling to the extreme of RTO? Intend to our initiatives don't fail because of bad ideas. They fail because people weren't aligned on what success looked like. That's not a strategy problem, it's a communication gap. So let's unpack that gap, identify the traps that created, and give you concrete ways to design your communication system. Yes, it's a system for success. Every message has two sides: what you mean and what others hear. When we speak, we encode meaning into words. When others listen, they decode those words through their own filters: emotional, cultural, contextual. And that decoding process, yeah, it's often distorted. Stress changes our tone. Anxiety distorts how others receive it. What feels natural to you might land as criticism for someone else. That's not failure, it's the biology of how our brains work. We call this the illusion of clarity. We assume we've been clear because it makes sense in our own heads, forgetting that others don't have access to that internal context. Ironically, experienced team often fall into this trap more than new ones because the familiarity that they have with each other breeds assumptions. We shortcut explanations. We assume everybody knows that, and they don't. Language fluency doesn't equal shared meaning. Quick sync might mean 5 minutes to one person, 30 to another. ASAP could mean now or next week. Now, layer on cultural differences. Some cultures expect meaning to be inferred, others demand explicit disclosure. Combine the two without awareness, and frustration is guaranteed. Even timing matters. The same feedback given Monday morning versus Friday afternoon lands completely differently. Our moods color the message. And behind it all, the brain's reticular activating system, RAS. It filters what we notice. If we're feeling insecure, we spot anything that could be interpreted as criticism. If we're feeling confident, we ignore red flags. The RAS reinforces what we're already primed to see. For example, a team lead drops a quick Slack message. Can we talk about the Johnson project when you have a minute? Sarah sees it and panics. She's worried about her performance. She spirals. Meanwhile, the team lead just wanted to say, great work. Same words, different emotional filters, completely different outcome. Let's dig into what gets in the way. First, confirmation bias. We don't listen to understand, we listen to confirm what we already believe. That's why, yes, but that kind of response shuts things down. It signals disengagement dressed as agreement. More than that, words like but and however can psychologically negate everything that came before them. You did great, but forget it. The person never hears the compliment. Then there's emotional hijacking. Your amygdala kicks in when it senses threat, like feedback, surprise questions, or ambiguity. Logic shuts down. You react. Even well meaning input, like, hey, I have some thoughts about your latest deliverable. That well intended message, meaning to wanting to help, can trigger a defensive response. That's biology, not weakness. Power dynamics make it even worse. When leaders ask, what do you think? People often say what they think leadership wants to hear. Title alone alters how messages are framed and heard. And behavior matters. Leaders who interrupt, jump in with solutions, or always have the last word, and they can have a lot of positive intent, good intention what they're doing, but they are actually shutting down contribution. It's unintentional, but that's what happens. Add to the mix the complexities of professional culture. Engineers, salespeople, executives, they all communicate differently. Depending on your audience, the same detailed intro might signal respect in one culture and feels like stalling in another. And when we're tired, that's worse. Stress impairs empathy, patience, and clarity. We oversimplify, we assume, we get terse. Miscommunication becomes the norm. Multitasking isn't helping. We're not multitasking. We're rapidly switching attention, task switching. And every switch comes with cognitive cost that impairs our prefrontal cortex activity, precisely what we need most for clear communications. And high stress leads to sustained cortisol, which reduces our brain's capacity to think clearly, especially when it comes to negative navigating neurons, which is the heart of effective communication. So, how do we fix it? Start with trust, not perfection. Trust is built when leaders say, "Don't know. What do you think?" Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the beginning of collaboration. Normalize, "I don't know." It opens space for learning, creativity, and authentic conversations. As a leader, you've been trained never to do this, as it can be perceived as weakness. That's just not how high executives speak. Sadly, this is true. We have normalized poor communication in leadership and then wonder why we're struggling. We need to stop normalizing what doesn't truly work. That's not a sign of weakness, it's a demonstration of courage and true leadership. And we also need to recognize different personal styles of communications. Some people talk to think, others think before talking. Create space for both. In meetings, after a sync, always try to get contribution from everybody. Then use asynchronous time for rich, real collaboration. No matter how good you would get at this, there will always be mishaps. Learn to repair. Miscommunications will happen. What matters is what comes next, how quickly we recover, and how we turn a crisis into opportunity. Some things that you can do: name it. Just simply name it. We think we missed each other on that. Own it. I should have clarified earlier, and repair it. Can we revisit and reset? This isn't about being solved, it's about being real. Use repair language like, Can you walk me through how you saw it?" Or, "I think I misunderstood. Can you clarify?" Assume positive intent. That's critical. Not blindly, but with curiosity. What problem were they trying to solve? What might they be responding to? Asking ourselves what worldview could lead to statements that don't make sense to us, but others seem rational to others. That's a really good demonstration that we're staying curious and engaged in the conversation while avoiding judgment and dismissal of potentially useful perspective. And check for real understanding, not just agreement. You can say things like, "Let me say this back to you. See if I got it right." That small moment of reflection avoids hours of rework, wasted energy, and frustration. So let's bring it into action. Start with awareness. Observe who speaks, who stays quiet, and how messages land. Track when clarification is needed. Patterns will show you what to adjust. For this to work and give you long term sustainable results, it's important not to try to overhaul your system overnight. That's too much. It's overwhelming. You'll get confused and you'll confuse everybody around you. Start with a check in. Ask, uh, how present are we right now? That simple little question resets attention and builds empathy. Introduce paraphrasing. Here's what I heard. Did I get it right? It's not overkill, it's precision. Use frameworks like think. They refer to something being true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind. This kind of framework helps teams name what's happening and fix it when it's necessary. And always track your wins. We often forget to celebrate the successes, which is essential to fuel our efforts and make us pivot to higher delivery, higher performance, higher ability at each iteration. This is how we grow. Look at the big picture. Are you seeing fewer back and forwards, more questions and assumptions? These are the signs of healthier communication. And watch for red flags. Confusing tool use with strategy. Slack isn't a strategy. Email isn't engagement. Tools serve a purpose, of course. And what they're doing actually helping you, or instead of just adding confusion or frustration. So here's the takeaway. Communication is not an individual skill gap, it's a shared system design challenge. When things break down, don't ask who failed. Ask what was missing in the system. Listening isn't passive, it's co creative. The best communications don't just express themselves clearly. It doesn't happen automatically. It's not magic. Mm, Good communicators are always making sure they're checking, they're engaged, and they're making sure that their message was received clearly. It's not just about putting the words out there and leaving it entirely up to others to figure it out. There are things that we can do to confirm that we have shared understanding on what we just said. Communication psychology isn't fluff. It's the architecture of trust, clarity, and momentum. And when we get it right, teams stop talking past each other and start building something remarkable together because they're communicating effectively. So here's my challenge to you. Think about one miscommunication you experienced this week. Don't assign blame, just reflect what actually caused it and what might you change next time. And if you'd like to learn more about why emotional intelligence is so critical in the age of AI, one of these. I'll be happy to tell you all about it.